Well, it's been absolutely miserable for anybody who's been trying to get around, particularly over Christmas, on the railways. Yes, we normally have no trains at all on Christmas Day and very few on Boxing Day, but any of those were wiped out. But in addition to that, everything closed down really early on Christmas Eve. It was very late starting up on the 27th of December. Then we went into some kind of, as it were, speciality strikes. So this isn't the RMT, the big rail union, going in against Network Rail and train operators. This is the Transport Salary Staffs Association at Great Western Railways and West Midlands Railway, and the latter strike actually took out all trains in the West Midlands network as well as London North Western Railway for the past 2 days. According to my calculation, Tom, this is a rare day where there are no strikes, but of course the RMT overtime ban continues, and that is having a devastating effect. For example, Chiltern Railways just says, we're not doing anything north of Banbury. Our whole Midlands network is just going to be closed down until the 9th of January. And London South Western Railway, which runs from Waterloo Station out to Surrey, Hampshire and so on.
Big commuter line.
Well, the busiest station in the UK normally.
Wow.
That's now running on kind of skeleton service with a couple of dozen stations with no trains at all. Others on the lines which are running, sometimes stations are just closed and very restricted hours. So that's kind of the new normal. Yeah. But then when the great return to work on Tuesday, the 3rd of January starts, well, a lot of people will find that they can't return to work because we've got 2 days of national strikes by the RMT, then a guest strike on Thursday the 5th. That's from ASLEF, the Train Drivers Union. Then we go back to the RMT strike again for another couple of days, and then that will gradually on Sunday the 8th we'll be getting a little bit back to normal, and then, well, people are saying that you might actually get a couple of days of normal working on the 9th and the 10th before the Elizabeth line here in London, they go out on strike there. So it is absolutely never ending.
Almost impossible to navigate. And yet, I remember a few weeks ago, people were singing the praises of two smaller unions that seem to have agreed new works and conditions on the railways. That's not making any effect at all. Really.
Right, that was one deal that was done, it was offered by Network Rail, OK? So you've got, it's incredibly complicated. You've got multiple unions and you've also got two basic lumps of employers. Network Rail, the state-run body which runs the infrastructure on the railway, they came out with a pretty decent, given everything, deal, which involved 5% last year, 4% this year, plus some good deals in terms of uplift for the lowest
two
pay.
Unions accepted that deal.
Yeah, well, interestingly, the Transport Salary Staff Association and Unite, they both said, actually, we think this is probably the best you're going to get, and so our advice is to accept it. The deal went out from the RMT with a recommendation to reject it, and the members duly did reject it.
And that is the crucial one, because the RMT is rather bigger.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. But that's only kind of half the picture. So Network Rail, when they go out on strike, they bring half the rail network in the country to a halt, mostly the signallers. But then you've got the train operators, 14 of those who are represented by the Rail Delivery Group and who ultimately are the companies doing the government's bidding in terms of trains. They came up with 4% last year, 4% this year. Oh, and by the way, we've got all these modernisation plans that we're going to put in, and that was just rejected out of hand very angrily by the RMT. So we're a long way from any kind of settlement. Talking to individual railway men and women, they are very fed up. They've lost hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds going on strike. They're going to be losing more money. But ultimately, the passenger is the one who is just utterly cheesed off. As you say, very difficult to plan anything more than 2 weeks ahead because you've got no idea what the unions will be doing next.
Well,